The weekend we have all been waiting for, week 7 of college football, October 12th. I've had that circled since the preseason, and I hope none of you guys are going to be stuck at a wedding or a pumpkin patch or anything like that this week because this weekend is premium college football, and it's coming at a perfect time too after a just chaotic weekend last week and in front of another great week in next week. So let's go ahead and get right into it, starting with the Red River rivalry. That's Texas and Oklahoma. Texas is the only remaining undefeated team in the SEC. And I think that they're going to remain that way after this game. Obviously, this rivalry is a game where results don't always match the quality of team. I mean, just look at last year. Texas was the better team by a country mile, and they still lost the game. This rivalry has delivered us some absolute classics, but I have a hard time seeing a path for that this year. Texas has not really showed any real weaknesses yet, and that doesn't mean they don't have them. It just means that they haven't been evident so far. Oklahoma, on the other hand, has been struggling with injuries, and Texas is getting back Quinn Ewers at quarterback. So I think Texas can win this game. I mean, regardless of who plays quarterback. So even if he's not back or even if he's not at 100%, I still think Texas wins this game. And Texas has a lot of favorable matchups on the field. Most of the positions I feel like favor them. Texas has one of the best passing offenses, and Oklahoma is far from the best at defending the pass. Oklahoma does have a good run defense, though, but so did Michigan, and we saw how well that worked out for Michigan. Not that Texas was explosive on the ground or anything, but they were able to get yards when they needed them. And Texas also has an incredible defensive line, and that's going against Oklahoma's offensive line, which is probably their biggest weakness, as we expected. So that's a really bad matchup for them. And I think Oklahoma's only path to victory is the turnover game. I mean, they are pretty good at taking the ball away, and they're going to need to be to win this game. Basically, they need to play their best game possible, and even then, I don't think that their best is going to be good enough. I think it's just a rough day for Oklahoma here, and I think there's going to be a dominant victory for the Longhorns. This is the best version of Texas we probably have seen in over a decade, and I think Oklahoma is far from the best version of them that we have seen. But, anything can happen in these rivalry games or really in any games in college football last week. Continue to prove that sometimes logic is just thrown out the window in this sport. But there's a reason that Texas is a double-digit favorite here. They are the better team. They have the better matchups. And nothing that I've seen from Oklahoma has proven to me that they are up to the task in this game. It's not like Texas is going to overlook Oklahoma either. They still have a chip on their shoulder from last year. So I think Texas is going to win this game fairly confidently. Next, Penn State at USC, and I think Penn State is maybe one of the most overrated teams in the country right now, but I think they still beat USC. And you may ask, like, how are they, the most overrated team in the country and still be able to beat USC? Well, you got to ask, what are they rated, like Josh Pate does. What is Penn State rated? They're rated number 4 in the country. And they're not the fourth best team in the country. I don't think so. But neither is USC. I think both these teams are somewhere, well below elite. But I think USC is going to make Penn State look elite in this game because the matchups just don't favor the Trojans. USC does get this game at home, though, and they do have the quarterback edge. So at least I think that they have the quarterback edge. And they are likely the biggest passing threat that Penn State has seen all year. And that sounds great for USC, but USC's offensive line is one of the worst in the country at preventing pressure, and Penn State, they're the second best at causing pressure. We saw Michigan's defensive line basically live in USC's backfield in the first half of that game, and I expect more of the same here. Even the best quarterbacks are going to have a hard time being successful if the offensive line cannot block for them, especially when you have a quarterback that's a pocket quarterback. And that's what Miller Moss is. He's not a scrambler. He's not Caleb Williams or Shedeur Sanders or Jaden Daniels. Not only is Penn State great at generating pressure, they are great at generating pressure quickly. It's not like I can expect USC to be effective on the ground either. I just don't think that this defense will allow that. USC is going to have to pass. And luckily for them, that is their strength, but they're going to have to do it very quickly because Penn State will be in that backfield and they will be back there fast. On the other end of the ball, though, USC's defense is much improved. I don't think Drew Aller is going to look like a superstar in this game. I don't think those receivers will pop off really, but they won't really have to. As improved as USC's defense is, their rush defense still has not been very great, and Penn State has the ground game to just wear down and run it all day long. Look at Michigan. They beat USC while passing for less than 40 yards. You think USC didn't know the run was coming in that game? They're going to know the run's coming in this game too, and they're not going to be able to do anything about it. They just can't stop it, and it's likely going to be the case here. expect Penn State to make more than 35 yards through the air as well. So I think they'll be a little bit more balanced than Michigan was. Despite all those mismatches, though, I would not count out USC completely. These mismatches are very similar to what they did have against Michigan, and that was a very, very close game. That was 1 or 2 plays away from going the other way. I still think this Penn State team is going to pull through, though, but don't be surprised if USC finds a way to sneak into this game. Next, Florida at Tennessee, and Tennessee looked unstoppable all season until last week when they fell to Arkansas. Unfortunately, that means they have everything to prove in this game at home against the Florida team that has been pretty underwhelming, and I think Tennessee will control and win this game. Florida can be sneaky in these kind of games, though, but they are playing it at Neyland this year, and I just think that Florida will be outcoached, outmanned, and outclassed in this one. Tennessee's defense should keep Florida in check long enough for Nico to be able to make some big plays. Obviously, we all know James Pierce Jr. I think he's going to make noise in this game, as he does in a lot of games. Florida's defense has already showed weakness against the run and against mobile quarterbacks. Well, Tennessee has that. And I think Florida's vulnerabilities are ripe for being exposed by Tennessee, and I don't think Florida has the right profile to do the same to Tennessee. I know they got a win last week against UCF, but they're going up against a much better defense and a team whose back is up against the wall here. And I think that they have a chip on their shoulder from last year as well. I did tell y'all, though, I think Florida could win one of these upcoming games that they aren't supposed to win, but I don't think it's going to be this one. Rocky Top is going to be on top. And next, Ohio State at Oregon, maybe the game of the week. Finally, we get to see Ohio State play real competition. Going into the season, I told y'all I thought that Ohio State was the best team in the country. They have had so many offensive weapons come in through the transfer portal and just weapons that they had already there, and they just have what looks to be an incredible defense. My opinions on that have not changed. They have not really played anyone yet, but they look every bit of the team I expected them to be so far. Oregon, on the other hand, has struggled out of the gate, but they seem to have found themselves. But they really also haven't played anyone close to their level either. Now, this is a big test game for both teams, and Oregon has a huge advantage playing this game at home, but I think this is where Ohio State proves why they are the favorites to win the whole thing, at least in my eyes. And I would be so happy to be wrong about this one. There's not a team in any sport that I hate more than the Ohio State Buckeyes, even Alabama. I don't really have a great reason for that, to be honest. I just do. The fact is, though, Oregon has shown weakness. Yes, it was early on, and they look like a different team, but we've seen them play some pretty sloppy ball, and we haven't really seen that from the Buckeyes. It's hard to talk about, the matchups and the stats in their games because of their quality opponents, but it's more of a gut feeling here. I just get the feeling that Oregon may not be as good as many thought, myself included, but we'll find out in this game. I mean, this is going to be a statement win for either team, and I don't think Oregon is quite ready for the moment yet. And I do think Ryan Day's Ohio State team is ready to prove that they can win when it matters finally. Next, Ole Miss at LSU. And this matchup has delivered some absolute shootouts in the past, and we could be in for another good one here. One thing I love about this weekend, though, is that this matchup included, is that in most of these games, the team that I feel like is the better team is on the road, and that could lead to a lot of craziness, a lot of upsets. Home field advantage can be a factor in these games, and at least one heavy favorite I think is going to lose on the road this weekend. At least that's my feel. I don't know where it will be, but my guess would be maybe Penn State, USC, or this game. They're my prime contenders for the big upset. I am picking Ole Miss to win this game still, though. I know they lost to Kentucky on the road a few weeks ago, but I'm going to say the same thing about this matchup that I did about Ole Miss's last matchup against South Carolina. I just can't shake the talent edge that they have. Last week, that led them to a massive win over South Carolina, and LSU has shown serious vulnerabilities up to this point, and I think Ole Miss can be the type of team that uses that against them. I think that Ole Miss will be able to get effective pressure on the quarterback, and I just don't think Nussmeier is going to be able to make big plays on the ground when the pocket collapses. Ole Miss, I think, will be able to get at least a few big sacks in this game. That may, decide the game here. We know Ole Miss can stop the ground game, and this LSU team does not have the rushing attack that they thought they did or we thought that they did. If LSU is going to win this game, it's going to have to be by attacking the secondary of Ole Miss. And I think that they will find success here, maybe even a lot of success if that O-line can keep the blocks for Nussmeier. The problem for LSU is that I just don't think they have the defense to stop Ole Miss. LSU is improved defensively, but I just don't think that they can handle the amount of weapons that Ole Miss is going to throw at them. I think it's going to be a close game, and I think it's a very winnable game for LSU, but I still think Ole Miss is going to win this game. Next, I have Vanderbilt at Kentucky, and last week made this game a whole lot tougher for me. I can't believe I'm saying this, but both these teams have very high-quality wins at home. Kentucky took down Ole Miss, and Vanderbilt took down Alabama. But I think Kentucky is going to win this game. For one, Kentucky has home field advantage, and they are coming off of a bye. Meanwhile, Vanderbilt is on the road, and they just came off of the most emotional win against Alabama you could probably have. And I don't know if they can screw their heads back on straight after that kind of a win. But also, Kentucky's defense is no joke. Vanderbilt's offense seemed to have all the answers against Alabama, but this Kentucky defense has been good enough to stop Georgia and Ole Miss. So this is probably the best defense Vanderbilt has played. Maybe Missouri, but the book is not written on them yet. So either way, I don't think Vanderbilt will play as good against this kind of defense. On the flip side, though, Vanderbilt is not very strong defensively. Kentucky's offense has struggled, but I think that they should find some success here against this Vanderbilt defense. There's a lot to be exposed. I would not be surprised if Vanderbilt did win this one. I mean, nothing's going to surprise me at this point. Sky's the limit for Vanderbilt, to be honest, and I will be rooting for them in this game. But I think that they are going to fall back down to earth in this game. Next, Iowa State at West Virginia, and Iowa State is secretly undefeated right now. I don't think most people know that, but they're going up against a sneaky good West Virginia team that's been getting better and better every week, and I think this could be a fight, and honestly, that's kind of what I'm expecting it to be, but I think Iowa State will come out on top in this one. I think their defense is plenty good enough to limit West Virginia's offense. I think Rocco Beck is going to have probably the best game of the season in this one. I just have a feeling about it. It's a unique bone to pick with West Virginia after they didn't give him an offer despite his father being a legend for West Virginia. And it's funny because his father is actually being honored at this game, which is just a crazy situation. But both these teams have been on fire the past few weeks, but I think overall Iowa State's defense will be the difference. I think Iowa State will win the game. And last, but certainly not least, Kansas State at Colorado. And this is definitely Colorado's biggest test so far. Kansas State's defense has its weaknesses, and we know Colorado does not have a problem scoring. And I think that Colorado has been trending in the right direction. Both teams are off of a bye here, and Kansas State has to travel to Colorado. Colorado has been able to stop the run defensively. I don't know if they are going to be able to do that here. Kansas State has the guys that I think can get effective runs in here. I think Kansas State has the advantage of the line of scrimmage as well. But if Colorado can shut down that run and force this game into a passing match, Shedeur Sanders will win that battle. I think that Colorado may be able to control the tempo, and if they are able to do that, they will win this game, I think. It's actually a really hard game for me to pick because I can see a variety of different outcomes that could really affect the conference championship race. At the end of the day, though, I think that win over UCF was less impressive now that I saw what Florida was able to do to them. And I think Kansas State will go in there and win. I think that they have a more balanced team, and I'm counting on them to not turn the ball over in a hostile environment like this, which is a big ask, but I think that they can get it done. Not confident about this one, but I am picking Kansas State to win this game. But if they don't, we will be having some crazy conversations about Colorado. They will be in talks for Big 12 championships and all that, so that'll be really interesting. Anyways, that's all for the main predictions that I'm going to make on this video. So if you want to see the rest of my predictions, follow me on the socials at @A_rock321 on X and Threads. I'll also be posting my top 25, my updated top 25 there as well. So yeah, that's all for this video, guys. I hope you guys had a great day or night whenever you're watching this. Please like, comment, subscribe, and yeah, peace.